Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Carboni, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the City of Whittlesea. I welcome you all to the Advisory Committee meeting appointed to hear and consider public submissions on the proposed Council budget for 2020-21. On behalf of the City of Whittlesea, I recognise the rich Aboriginal heritage of this country and acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wilam clan as the traditional owners of this place. I introduce to the meeting Lydia Wilson as Administrator for the City of Whittlesea and Chair of the committee. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you, Joe. Can I just check that everybody can hear? Yep, good. Thank you all for attending this afternoon to be heard in support of your budget submissions. As you'd be aware, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and our physical distancing requirements, submitters have been unable to address the committee in person. Therefore, this committee meeting is being held obviously as a video conference meeting via Microsoft Teams. The meeting is being recorded and will be available online on Council's website early next week. The meeting is being run in accordance with Council's Procedural Matters Local Law, which provides for the conduct of the meeting. As it's a video conferencing meeting, could I ask that you please mute your microphone, and also if you could leave your video off until you're invited by myself to speak in support of your submission, just to also minimise the interference. Thank you. Officers, I haven't got a conflict of interest in relation to an item on the agenda. We'll now turn our focus to each submission, and I note that we have 10 submitters addressing the committee this afternoon. Each submitter will have up to 5 minutes to speak in support of their submission, and I have got a timer which we'll be monitoring just simply to get through the submissions this afternoon. Obviously, your submission was sent to me before this meeting, and I've obviously read each and every one of those submissions. Therefore, it's not a requirement for you to read your submission to me, but I might also ask a question about your submission. When your name is called and you're invited to speak in support of your submission, again, I'd ask you to switch your video and microphone on. So moving to the first submission for the afternoon, it will be presented by Anita, Guerra, Director of Fit for Two. And again, Anita, I note that I have read your submission, but I would like you to address the committee in support of your submission. And again, I'll just remind you that you have got that 5-minute time limit. Thank you. Oh, sorry, we're just seeing if Anita is online. No. Or, oh, I think Anita's just waiting in the lobby. Are you there, Anita? Okay, I think we might have Anita now. Anita, just before you came online, I just made a number of preliminary comments, and that was that obviously I have read your submission,
Yes.
and so I'd ask that submitters don't read the whole submission.
Sure.
And if you'd like to present, you've got 5 minutes for the presentation, which we are timing. Thank you. So if you'd like to present to the committee.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your time. So my name's Anita Guerra, and I'm a registered midwife, and I'm also a pregnancy and postnatal fitness trainer And I've been running my business now for about 8 years across the South Morang, Mernda, Mill Park area, quite successfully looking after pregnant and post-birth mums. As a midwife for the last 12 years, I've obviously recognised different areas that women are lacking of in education, in areas specifically around pelvic floor health, how to look after themselves better after and during pregnancy. So basically with the submission that I've gone ahead with is that I'm really wanting to bring in mum care education sessions into the public arena where women can go to specifically after having a baby to be able to learn more about mum care, but also about pelvic floor health, how to heal abdominal separation, how to look after themselves properly, and really how to return back to safe return to exercise. We know for stats that the 6-week checkup really just isn't enough, and women are walking away thinking that their doctors have said, yes, it's okay to safely exercise, but their caregivers really don't really understand the meaning of is for women after having babies. Women are also not being recommended to go and see a women's health physio, and we've got very high stats of women having pelvic floor issues after having children, and they don't really know where to go and who to turn to. So with my business, I've been lucky and fortunate enough to know and educate these women really well that when they do have babies, they don't tend to have any to very minimal chances of pelvic floor issues post-birth unless they've had a traumatic birth and other issues have arisen after having the baby. But I've managed to be able to join with a network of professionals like women's health physios, osteo, chiros who are specifically trained in that area so we can look after these women safely during the pregnancy period and drive it right through to post-birth. But I love the fact that like the Council, Maternal and Child Health are able to help mums with sleep issues and settling programs for babies and that, but what is there for mums? There is basically nothing. So I am asking Council to be able to put that opportunity for women that we can give some really decent education to these women postnatally so they can look after themselves properly, that they know how to care for themselves, because if they're not caring for themselves right and also getting back to health and fitness, their mental health and wellbeing completely isn't there. Postnatal depression rates are increasing, their anxiety is increasing, and they just don't know who to go to. The community network has massively decreased. COVID-19 on its own has massively shut down a lot of communities for these mums, and they don't know where to go. So together, I'm sort of hoping that we can try and team together to show women where they can go postnatally, but also start with the right foundations of education, because we all know that education is power at the end of the day, that if these women are more informed, then we're going to hopefully reduce the amount of problems that we can have postnatal for women, which can obviously lead to lifelong complications, which we certainly don't want to have as mums. That we want mums to be strong and confident about themselves, be able to look after their children, be able to look after their families, and feel good about themselves postnatally.
Thank you, Anita.
You're welcome.
You obviously have got extensive knowledge and experience in this field, and could I just ask, what are your linkages with our maternal and child health nurses?
I have tried to do fitness education workshops with the maternal and child health. I've also got a couple of clients who do work within maternal and child health. Unfortunately, it's been very difficult to try and get into the maternal and child health system because I'm a private business. So basically, if I was more linked into the hospitals, they said, yes, you can come in. They've all been very interested in what I do. They're more than happy to hand out my flyers to these girls. But the lack of education, I feel, even happens at the maternal and child health, the small groups that don't. I've got 2 children myself. I know what has been taught in the previous years, what may have changed over time, but women are telling me no pelvic floor is discussed in the hospital. It's very minimal at the maternal and child health group workshops. It's very limited as to the maternal and child health who comes to the first visit in the home. So very simple women's health care is very much being slipped through the gaps, and I think we can do so much better about it. And this is where I want to be able to tap into maternal and child health better, where they refer their clients down to an education session to me, and I come and educate them as a group. I know I can't get around to every single maternal and child health program, but I know if we can run some really strong, solid educational workshops for mums post-birth, specifically in the first 12 weeks if we can, that's going to make the biggest impact difference for these women.
All right, thank you, Anita. And I also note the fact that you did the survey of obviously participants or your
Yes,
clients.
that's correct. That's right.
So I noted that as well. All right, thank you. I've got no further questions, and
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So our next submission this afternoon will be presented by Linda Jablonski. And again, Linda, I note that I've obviously read your submission, but would like to now invite you to address the committee in support of your submission. And again, I'll just note that 5-minute timing. Thank you.
Oops. Apologies. I'm just at work at the same time, and I think I flipped you around. So I'm having trouble. Technical issues. Hang on. Can you hear me? But you can't see me.
I can hear you, but can't yet see you.
Okay. It was working before. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I haven't used Teams before.
We're all learning.
So yes, I'm at work, so I had to move from my desk. You've read the submission, so it's about the dirt jumps and BMX track in Doreen that I'm requesting for the teenagers and children of Doreen. I'm a mum of a teenager and a very avid bike rider, loves his bike and wants to get outdoors and do stuff. Basically, I just think it'd be a great outdoor location in Doreen somewhere for the numerous number of teenage children we have there at the moment. And they're just growing and growing. Like, there's so many kids out there that love their bikes, and I want to keep them out of trouble and engage the kids in this and get them to help build it, or work in conjunction with the council, obviously, to build this, because they've shown a real passion for this. And being a mum of this bike team, I'm a bit passionate about it myself, and getting these kids some other activity in the area, the local area that they can ride to and they can enjoy with their friends and keep them all out of trouble, you know. I'm not too sure what to say, so I've not presented before.
Oh, you're doing very well.
Okay. I think that's about all I'd like to say. I do want to also say that we do want it to be a substantial track, similar to the city dirt jumps in Adelaide, ranging from small to large. But I think to engage the teens, we need to make it reasonable. And I know there's liability with that, but it has been done in other cities. So I think it's well worth looking into, because otherwise they will lack interest in it. It will be, in their terms, lame, and not something that they would want to use. So I want them to use it. I don't want it to be a park that they're not interested in using, because these are kids, you know, going from 13, 14, to 18. I mean, we had some 18-year-old kids interested in this. So, and then you've got your juniors, your primary school kids. So I think that's about all I need to say at the moment. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Linda. Obviously, I've had a number of briefings on this particular matter.
Yep.
How many children are involved?
Well, look, I believe my son told me over the time there would have been approximately 70 kids going up there, not at one time, but you'd have 10 or so up at the park. And now we've got a key group of 5 kids that we sort of are promoting, who want to get involved and build this, and work with council, who I'm working with Hans and Leanne, and I have recommended we have a meeting with the kids and Hans to go over it, because I think they need to have an understanding how council works. But yeah, there was that. And then, look, I'm talking, you've got 2,000 kids that ride their bikes to Hazel Glen High School, and the bike sheds are full. So these kids would truly benefit from it, and get them away from the shops, get them away from, vandalising. I think we really need to engage these kids. They want this. They proved they wanted it, and they did try and put messages out to, you know, with COVID and stuff. They wanted to be responsible about it. So, and rubbish being left around and messages were left out and, you know, don't do this, you know, treat it like your own backyard. Let's, you know, engage these kids who are wanting to be responsible, and let's, you know, get this for them, I think. So, yeah.
Look, Linda, I don't have any further questions at this stage, and I don't know if you've got anything further that you want to add.
Probably just expectations wise, I just want to know if we think we can achieve something like this. And, you know, I know council takes a long time, but the timing of it, you know, to engage these kids before they lose interest in what we're doing, you know, through the legitimate channels, you know.
Yeah. So what will happen at the end of this session today, I'll be clearly indicating what are the timelines associated with consideration of the budget submissions. And I can assure you that they're very tight in relation to our deliberations. So we will be, I'll indicate for you the dates when we'll be looking at the adoption of the budget and the way that we'll be treating the budget submissions. And no doubt you'll be following the outcome of the submissions today in the budget process.
Yeah. So am I able to leave the meeting because I have to go back to work, or do I need
Oh,
to
sure,
sit?
of course.
Yeah.
Look, let me just say before you go then that what we will be doing is considering the recommendations of the special council meeting on Thursday, the 25th of June. So that's the date that the submissions will be formally resolved on.
Okay, sure. All right, great.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for your time, and hope we can achieve something together.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of work, Linda.
Thanks, Lydia. Bye-bye.
Bye. So our next submission this afternoon will be presented by John Nugent. And again, John, I just note that I've obviously read your submission, but would like to invite you to present to the committee this afternoon.
Thank you. Administrator, Lydia and committee. I'm requesting that the council gives rate pensioners of the city of Whittlesea a $100 rate pensioner rebate off their 2021 rates, as well as their state government concession. As you would realise, most self-funded pensioners can't live on the interest rate, and they earn from the banks. Pensioners who are on the pension barely can live on what they get from the government. The rate pensioners need your help this year or the coming year. If we look at our southern neighbours, the cities of Darebin and Yarra, and what they give, the city of Yarra gives $187.50 per householder who are eligible for a pension rebate. The city of Darebin gives $150 per householder. The Darebin has a budget of $185 million and has 10,000 eligible pensioners, which equals to just over 0.8% of their budget. Now, the city of Whittlesea gives $0 per household, but has a budget of $272 million and has 19,000 pensioners. Now, not the 19,000 pensioners, I don't think is a correct figure. If we look at there'd be Mr. and Mrs. are both on pensioners. But for this exercise, say there is 19,000 eligible pensioners in this city, and all eligible for it, this would only cost the city only 0.7% of its current budget on this year's figures. As I said, I won't have much to say, but in conclusion, this should meet the council expenditure. As I said, it would only be 0.7 of 1% of its budget. Just think, the council are helping 19,000 eligible pensioners in this city. Many pensioners have lived in this city for 20 to 40 or even 50 years long, and have contributed or helped communicate the growth of this city. May I add also, I didn't put in the in my submission because it wasn't relevant at this big time, but I think we all should, or the council, through you, Administrator, should consider about helping the people who are on job seeker and job finder for 1 year only because of this coronavirus. This is all I've got to say, Administrator, and thank you for your time. And if you've got any questions for me, I'm only too happy to answer them.
Thank you, John. I don't have specific comments for you, given that your submission was very clear. But I would just make a comment in relation to just those concluding remarks that you made about council support. We have got a whole package of COVID-19 support programs that we've been rolling out, including our hardship policy, which has been reviewed because we're well aware that our community has been impacted by COVID-19. So that is something we're very mindful of and continuing to roll out those specific measures and provisions. But look, thank you for your time this afternoon and for your submission. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Administrator.
Next, we welcome David Thomas, who's the President of Whittlesea Junior Basketball Association. David, I don't think I need to say again that I've obviously read your submission. So I would invite you to present to the committee. Thank you.
Not sure, David.
Sorry, I've just been advised that David might not be here yet, so we might just move to the next submitter, and that is welcoming Harinder Singh of Whittlesea Hockey Club. And I'll make the same remarks, Harinder, that obviously I have read your submission, but I'd be happy for you to present to the committee.
Hello everyone, I'm Harinder Singh, trader for Whittlesea Hockey Club. I'm here along with my club member, Doreen, who is already on the meeting. So first of all, I think it's already mentioned in the submission that promotion of development of hockey is already planned in 2012-17 recreational plan, which is much overdue now. And all the residents had to go to the neighboring suburbs to feel and enjoy hockey, where we definitely could have that facility in our place anytime. To handle this situation, we developed the club last year. We established the club last year, and started with few members, and now we have grown. We are presently using RMIT Bandura facility, which is a private facility, but we are hiring that on hourly basis from them. And with the growing number and especially the females, with the limited resources, it's very difficult for us to manage. And especially being hockey a winter sport and with no lights and limited slots from RMIT, it's getting very difficult. And moreover, now we are affiliated to Hockey Victoria and we'll be playing the league with them. So last year also we did the submission, expecting that council will start something on that soon. And we expect the same this time also, that council will definitely look into this. And we definitely want to partner with the council so that we can keep the kids busy and off the roads and feel and enjoy hockey.
Are they the comments have you concluded the comments you wanted to make?
Yes, we definitely want to partner with the council.
Thank you for that. I obviously have noted the importance of hockey to the municipality and the work that you've done to establish the club. Can you remind me, what's the current membership?
See, if we say last year when we closed, we had around 75 members, but because of the COVID, we had reduced, but still we having around 55 members at the moment. And we are entering 2 teams with Hockey Victoria. And we have further expression of interest from female members. But with the limited facilities, like we can't bring the females on the ground because there are no change rooms and other things. So we definitely will be growing with once we have a proper facility with us.
And what do you expect to be the growth, allowing that we're through we've gone through COVID recovery? What do you anticipate for the growth rate?
See, being it's a winter sport, and the season generally goes up to September. So we are already in the mid-season, and Hockey Victoria has mentioned that we'll be going maybe for half season or a little bit more than that. So again, number will definitely increase, require we have access to the facility because everybody wants to play. It's not like we get one slot and we can accommodate 50 people on the ground. And with the restrictions of COVID, we can have max, 20 at a ground. And moreover, because RMIT is a private facility and they haven't yet allowed us to start playing on the ground. All the other council facilities has started because that's their ground facility only. And being RMIT a private facility, they have to start all their sports authority in one go. So that's again a limitation we are facing at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Again, it was a very comprehensive submission, so thank you for that and for coming along today to, albeit virtually, to present. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Have we got David Thomas yet? Go back. No. Sorry, we just have got a couple of people not in attendance yet. So we will now move to David Watson of Whittlesea Country Music Festival. And David, I invite you to submit to the committee. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Lydia?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Yes, I can. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for your time today, and thanks for taking the time to read the submission. That's a refreshing change from our point of view. Really, since you've done all that, all I'd really like to do is just basically give a brief history in relation to where we are, what we've come from. Basically, the Whittlesea Country Music Festival was formed some 20 years ago.
Yep.
At the request of council. What was going on, we had a festival in Thomastown, we had a festival in Hawkstow, but nothing was ever done up in the north. All the money seemed to get spent around the Thomastown, Laylor, all that area, which is where council was based. And subsequently, council decided they should spend some money up north, and a cheaper option was to go with a volunteer committee as opposed to doing everything themselves. And that's really where we started. The whole point of our submission really is to just go back to what was. We became a bit of a political football in the last 2 to 3 years, going from a budget submission process to a grants process to we just keep getting put from category to category. And we're really just looking for a return to what was, which is basically the money we seek plus a service agreement that we used to have in place, which allows us the flexibility to do what we do and gives us the opportunity to take advantage of discounts and things that we're able to obtain with that length of time and certainty moving forward. Obviously, this year is going to be a little bit more difficult given the COVID situation and the fact that funding hasn't been secured. It's giving us less time to do what we need to do. And obviously, acts and people that we book for these sorts of things are still a little bit up in the air in terms of their movements and border closures and all that sort of stuff. But we're confident that moving forward we'll be able to do things, and it also gives us the opportunity to engage the other stakeholders in the festival, such as the Lions clubs, the Rotary clubs, the football clubs, tennis club, cricket club. That particular festival does involve the whole community. We have all the shopkeeper support. It's the biggest fundraising day for pretty much a lot of the service clubs and like I said, football club, tennis club. and so on. And we even support some local charities that have stalls there that they use the festival as an opportunity for their big fundraising days as well. So, in a nutshell, that's really all we're looking for, is a bit of consistency moving forward, and to return to what we used to have, so that we can plan effectively moving forward.
Thank you, David. I do actually have a few questions, if you don't mind. I noticed that the festival's really been a partnership approach through the organisation, and there's a number of key groups who are all part of the committee. That's something that's continuing on, I take it?
Yes, correct. Yeah, the committee remains pretty much, we maybe have a turnover of 1 or 2 members per year, but for the most part, the committee remains fairly steady. And there's representatives from the Agricultural Society, the Lions Club, the Rotary Club. Everybody has their 2 bobs worth, if you like. And it's all about just bringing the whole community together. I mean, from a crowd perspective, we get our 4,500 to 5,000 people fairly consistently. And it's multicultural. I mean, we get the one comment we get a lot of is just what a great day it is in terms of family. You know, kids can come on the oval. Everybody has a ball. In a 20-year time we've been going, we haven't had one incident that's required any intervention from an outside source, whether it be police or so on. So we're fairly proud of that record. And we have people travel. We like last year, we had people met at the festival. One coming from Tassie, mum coming from Tassie, daughter came from New South Wales, and they met at the festival. So, you know, it has a bit of an outside reach as well. We're fairly well supported with a couple of people from the Tamworth Festival up in New South Wales who help with a little bit of publicity and that type of thing. Yeah.
Have you ever done an assessment of the economic development benefits to the municipality associated with the festival?
It was probably done, and this is off the top of my head, it was probably done maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And there, I think, trying to think, the lady was Sunshine Cross, was the council lady who came up and gave us the figures, and we were one of the few festivals run by council that actually returned an economic benefit in as much as we got a $1.15 return for every dollar spent, which isn't great, but she said that a lot of festivals actually the other way around on the negative side. We're actually in the plus. So.
You touched on COVID-19, and obviously we're going to be going through the recovery phase. So what are your plans about what form the festival's going to take in that sort of environment?
Well, we want to move forward as if everything will be back to normal. But from a contingency point of view, if that doesn't happen, any contracts that we enter into with any of the artists, we're going to add a COVID clause too, so that we're not up for any money. So that in the event there's a second wave or we get shut down, at the moment we have a clause where if we pay deposits, but they if the festival is cancelled within 48 hours of the actual date, due to fire, Vic Pol or whatever, all money's refunded to us, and we can thereby give it back to council if need be. So we'll continue to do that type of thing. If it's called off on the day, there's not a lot we can do about that. But if there's 48 hours notice given the fact that the artists sometimes lose money through flights, accommodation, or whatever additional costs they may have, we generally let them keep the deposit, but we don't obviously pay any more. So
all right.
And we're happy to add any clause you may deem fit to protect yourselves and us, obviously. Yeah.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you for that and for your submission.
And thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Okay then. Bye for now. Next, we're welcoming Angela Wood, who's the Director of Big Group Hug. And Angela, if I could invite you to present to the committee.
Hello, can you hear me? See me okay?
Yes, thank you. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and hi everybody. So I started Big Group Hug out of my lounge room, my lounge room / garage about 6 or 7 years ago. And at the time I was told by many well-meaning people that you can't help everyone. And so my response to that was then and is now, why not? Why can't we help everyone? And then late last year, we were lucky enough to be part of the Carols by Candlelight festivities at Whittlesea, and I was approached by a lady who was interested in what we were doing. So we provide material aid for children up to 16 years. She was interested in what we were doing and she wanted to help. But as we talked, it came out that she was a single mum trying to decide on whether to either feed or clothe her 12-year-old son. She couldn't do both, and it turned out that actually she needed our help. And I realised that I wasn't helping everyone, and that I'd probably grown a bit complacent, and that there was more we could do, despite the fact that, you know, as I'm really proud of. I'm proud of the over 40,000 items we've distributed throughout Whittlesea. I'm proud of the thousands of children we've helped, but I know that we can do more, and I know that the challenges facing us now are different to what we've done before. The difference, I think, is that I'm trying to take my own advice that I gave this lady to seek some help, and so now that's where we are. Here I am asking for help for something we've been doing, but we really need to step up our game. The issues that are facing, particularly Whittlesea, it's a wonderful tapestry, complex tapestry of humans with different needs, and but the challenges we're facing in terms of employment and mortgage stress and the impact that's going to have on child well-being is it's starting to concern me. They're saying that there's 750,000 more children about to slip into poverty than the already existing almost 800,000. So we want to pursue the old-fashioned solution of using what we can, what we already have, to pass on to others. We don't want to recreate the wheel. We have an excellent service. We work with over 130 agencies. We provide over 50% of what we do is for Whittlesea citizens, and having met that lady, I've realised we're not doing enough. There are still people isolated, still people not getting help. We want to disrupt the cycle of poverty, and we need help to do it. So we're wasting a lot of time trying to knock on doors to raise money, and we're not really knocking on doors to help people, and that's frustrating. We need help to sort of cover our bases, the really bare operating costs that we have, our rent. And we need some staff. We've operated with volunteers for many years. We need some continuity, because in order for us to grow, in order for us to really reach out and connect with even some of the kids that, you know, everyone's talked about today, and how fantastic are the things that people are doing in this wonderful community. It's so pleasing to hear. But we need some, at least one staff member to help us actually disrupt that cycle of poverty. So here I am asking for help. That very inspiring lady helped me do that. So I'm very happy to answer questions if you have any. I've got lots of
Thank you. I probably would make a comment, Angela, which is one of congratulations for all your endeavours. And I thought your submission was excellent, and particularly the way that it just highlighted not just the mission of the organisation, but how many people you have really provided support to. So that's quite a major endeavour.
Can I noticed to thank you as well. Can I thank you as well? Because the support we got from the council, we were able to provide 43% more items to families in March this year than last year. 43%. It's huge. So thank you. Sorry, I do appreciate it.
Thank you. And I note that obviously there's residents of other municipalities as well. Have you received any other grants or support from the other municipalities or other NGOs?
So we have submissions out to a number at the moment, because we're bracing ourselves for what is about to come. And we've certainly reached out to. We've recently received some money from Banyule. We've received little bits. We've got a submission into Darebin. We've got a submission into Hume. We'll be doing that. But the majority of our work is in Whittlesea. And the point of this is to actually, like I said, not have beautiful single mums like that lady having to find out about us by hearsay. We actually want to be proactive, and everyone in Whittlesea know we're there. So that's the point of this, is to grow. But we're out there asking. Don't worry.
No, that's really good. And I think to the comment that you made, which is evident in your submission as well, about the fact that you link in so well with the other support services, and the partnership approach is really a great way to go.
Yeah, and I think it's very humbling to feel like we can elevate the service that people are already doing. That's so excellent. But the need is, the need for what we do is really there. And, getting children back to their parents because we provided car seats, or getting children, children with shoes to school. It's fantastic. But we can only do it because of the great work, of council and the commitment of council to allow their health workers to engage with us. So, yeah.
I'm sure that you had no idea where this would go when you started out of your lounge room.
Why would you do a thing like that? Yes, no. I like to call it innocence. I could call it ignorance, but I'll call it innocence.
Look, I've got no further questions, Angela. Thank you very much for your submission and for presenting this afternoon. And again, congratulations on all of the wonderful work you do.
Thanks, Lydia. It was a great pleasure and privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we welcome Emma Antonetti, who is the Equity and Impact Manager of Whittlesea Community Connections. Emma, if you would like to present to the committee. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. And just before I just wanted to acknowledge all the good work from everyone, but also, Big Group Hub. We work with Big Group Hub quite a bit. And we distribute a number of packages every week, and the feedback from people is amazing. So, well done, and we do appreciate the work. We've put in a proposal. Actually, we put in 5 suggestions. So,
yes, I noticed.
No shortage of ideas. But I'll just try and be quick. But really, we do have a lot of ideas, and they really are coming from the community we work with. So, we get a lot of feedback. We also go out and we talk to people with intent to try and really understand what the community needs and issues and also opportunities are. So that's where it's come from. And the first 2 are really, I guess, something we think actually the council's best place to do. It's not about us. We actually think, in terms of really enhancing employment opportunities locally, I think council is really well placed to be able to do that, to coordinate all the big players and to provide opportunities for people who are missing out on employment opportunities, which obviously we're doing right now. And I know council's doing a really great job with working for Victoria on behalf of council and other organisations to help people. But we also know that there are people who, through COVID have become even more vulnerable. They were vulnerable before, and now it's been amplified. So we think there's a good lot of work that could be done around the employment space. And the other one is around racism and discrimination, which again, council's done a lot of work in the past as well. And so we'd like to just highlight that and to hope, I suppose, that council would continue that work. Obviously, racism has really come to the fore at the moment as well, and has become a bit of a life and death matter. But for the community members we speak to, we know it's an issue, and it impacts on people being able to get a job and to have a good life in the community. So they're just 2 big issues we think are actually interrelated as well, but are important to have a LGA-wide approach to those big issues. The other 3 proposals relate to some of the work that we're doing. One is at Mernda Community House. So we have a little neighbourhood house program that we're delivering there. I don't know if you've been to Mernda Community House, but it's pretty tiny. It's maybe 2 people can squeeze in the kitchen, maybe 5, 6 people in the main room. And the interest and the things that the opportunities we could do there are much bigger. So we have gone to some planners to think about what we could actually build there. We've put in some other applications for funding. So we're just looking for a contribution maybe to the big build around that. The other one is the Whittlesea Food Collective, which again, the council supported greatly, and it's really proven its worth, I think, in terms of helping people at the current time. And we're looking for a little bit of money to go to stage 2 of the food collective. That's really more of a community development approach that engages the community in understanding where food comes from, how around food security, health and food, and so on. And the last one is about a youth space, a dedicated youth space where young people can just hang out and do what it is that they want to do. You know, we have a youth advisory group that we've consulted, and they're starting to do some consultations with young people that suggest that this is something that's needed. But we obviously would like to talk to more young people around what that need is, what the space would look like, and you know, how young people could use that space in a good way. So they're our proposals, but yeah, happy to take questions.
Thank you, Emma. I'm not sure that I've got any specific questions, maybe just a couple of comments. Firstly, obviously, I'm very familiar with the work of Whittlesea Community Connections, and again, the enormous support that you provide to Whittlesea communities. And obviously, I've read your very detailed submission. It was very comprehensive, and I noted the fact that, as you said, there's 5 different streams of it. Some are for direct financial support, but others are also just about the continued work in partnership with council. So, look, thank you for the submission and thank you for presenting this afternoon, but I've got no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma.
Thanks.
Next, we're welcoming Lisa Thorpe of Bubup Wilam Aboriginal Child and Family Centre. Hi, Lisa. Lisa, I think you might still be on mute. Or...
Sorry, I thought I changed it. Sorry.
No, you're right now. Thank you.
Okay, look, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. But as you can see, our submission's about how we can fully fulfil the idea of actually how do we communicate not only internally at Bubup, but also the wider community. And we actually have an opportunity, or we've actually, Aboriginal Victoria has funded the educational spaces that we've built, as in an outside amphitheatre, and we've got a library inside it, and to extend our learning spaces. So what we're looking to do is actually to collate a whole lot of different sorts of information for both Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people about issues affecting us as a community, about Aboriginal issues across the board, and very clearly letting people being a part of a process that, well, we all can't have, well, you cannot get cultural competency in a 2-hour forum. And actually, if we're not taking on ourselves as self-interest, that I want to learn more myself, well, that's all good. But we're also providing a space that people can do it. And actually, so to collate all the information and get it together and to build the library up, both an audio-visual one and a book library, it takes a lot of resourcing to do so, and actually how we have to tap in to different people, and also to have a project officer to be able to pull it together for us. We actually have, and it's been since the build of Bubup Wilam 10 years ago, we put on the ground all the different language groups of Victoria, and we actually now at the space at the time, which is a good time too when they're talking about treaty, about how we can actually bring them to life, about in having a situation where we can have I think they're called RQ codes, and they do it around different places, about you put your phone to it and you can actually hear a bit about the thing that you talk, wherever you put the phone to. The issue is that the content, the content in that is what we need to develop and actually get access to people who can develop that content for us. So the concepts are all there. It's the content into that learning spaces, both for Aboriginal people and for the general community, including schools. We've got 2 schools right beside us that actually do very little or are able to. I'm not sure because they want to. It's actually the information is not available, and actually how we can actually then grow as a community to how we can work with this further. At Bubup, we're part of the Thomastown precinct, and we meet quite regularly and actually build a whole process about how we work together, and already talking with we're already a part of that whole process about they have the Thomastown Walk. The Thomastown Walk starts at the Lutherans. It starts in a space where it's been where colonisation happened to Victoria and has nothing before that time. So it's, there's a whole lot of information that the city of Whittlesea would benefit from, in addition to all these community spaces about the history of the space that you're on. You acknowledge that you're on Wurundjeri country, but we don't go much further than that. So what we want to do, and as Aboriginal people here, we're custodians as well. We're not all traditional owners. How do we bring that alive? How do we bring it into not only just us knowing about it, but it's also about the rest of the general community knowing about it, and actually how we bring everyone together. I just seen today that you actually have an Aboriginal inclusion charter, and I read that and I think we actually, that's great. How do we achieve that? And I think this is a really good opportunity to start achieving that stuff in that charter. So I don't know what else to say unless you want to ask me some questions about.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. You obviously play a really important part in providing key family support services to Aboriginal children and their families, but I also hear your message that it's about educating far broader than the people that come in and use your service. It's educating all of us as well. Can you just maybe talk me through what funding you receive from government?
From us as an organisation?
Yeah.
What we receive bits and pieces. We receive the long day, the CCS, which is all sorts of different things. As an early childhood centre, that's one component. But as an organisation that sits within the city of Whittlesea, we don't receive anything. So it's just bits and pieces of funding where we can get. And so what we are trying to do is, so for the children that we're getting funding for internally for them from the state government and the Commonwealth in the childcare sector, how do we then ensure that the places where we're sending them out to different schools, different places in Whittlesea, actually have an understanding of who our children are and have and opening up their whole process about what do you know about where these children come, who are these children? So they're walking into their spaces that they can be proud about who they are. There's context about who these children are. The schools are quite able to, but there's nothing there that we can use that we've actually. This is what we've developed ourselves. That we can see the gaping hole. There's no information out there. There's nowhere anyone can go to learn anything. And building up our relationships with Whittlesea Community Connections again and other groups around here is actually how we can help support education both ways. So
you get the childcare subsidy directly from the government, but you're saying that for some of that cultural awareness, cultural advisory functions, you don't get any direct funding.
Nothing at all, no.
Okay.
And so all that, and even the collation of that, and how do we pull it all together, and how do we, the amphitheatre we've got that we've actually built. It's been built by Aboriginal Victoria. We got the funding for it, but we've got the speakers that go into there. So we can actually have sessions, either informal ones for people one-on-one by themselves, or they can actually have a collective when we're allowed to be able to have an outdoor learning space. So it can be used both in structured sessions or just people sitting there by themselves and just listening and actually using the QR codes about different information out there. We want to build a heroes wall at the side.
Yes.
We've got some beautiful spaces that you can just walk past and see it and learn it. So you're not under pressure also about things that you need to learn in 2.5 hours, or you're not under pressure about your lack of knowledge or something. You just learn it in your own time and space and be comfortable about it and know where. It's just about being comfortable in learning the history. The majority of people know in this country is not quite accurate. And actually how to, as new people coming into this country, wherever you are or whoever you are, how do we actually give information that's actually going to support everyone to fit in together? So if we want to talk about reconciliation, this is it. We're doing this because we expect to be and want to be part of the City of Whittlesea. How do we make it a better place that we can all fit into it?
Thank you, Lisa. I've got no further questions. Thank you for your comprehensive submission again and for presenting this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. That brings us to the end of the formal submissions this afternoon. So we have had a number of submitters who indicated that they did not wish to speak in support of their submissions. Obviously, I've also read those individual submissions and they will be considered as part of my recommendation to the Council. As I indicated earlier, the Council will be meeting on the 25th of June to consider adopting the 2020-2021 budget. And on that note, the meeting will now be closed to the public to enable the committee to consider all of the submissions and to consider its recommendations to go. I think we might, sorry, I was just making concluding comments, but I think we've got, sorry, I was actually just making concluding comments because we thought that we had no further submitters, but I take it that we have the SES in attendance. Gary Doorbar?
Oh, hi, Lydia. It's Jerry Connell here.
Oh, sorry. As I said, I was just making concluding comments as we thought we had no further submitters this afternoon. But if you'd just like to introduce yourself and then please, you're welcome to present to the committee.
Thank you, Lydia, and thank you, committee, for the opportunity to look at our submission. I am Jerry Connell. I'm the Deputy Controller of the Whittlesea SES unit based down on Shotters Road in Mernda. I have the pleasure of leading our members, all our volunteer members. I'm also a volunteer of the unit. We have 65 members at the unit. Our submission to Council has been, we're requesting submission to help fund the unit, primarily to run the operation of the unit. We have to pay for, the unit pays for its own phones, utilities, registration of vehicles and fuel. Obviously, the COVID impact has had a massive impact on the unit this year that we've been able to go out and do our own funding. We do that via barbecue at Bunnings. We do can rattles, which we were unable to do this year, which has had a significant impact on our financial situation. Yes, we do receive some government funding. I want to make sure, I'm sure you're aware of that. But that is also to purchase any necessary vital rescue equipment. But the shortfall is definitely when it comes to the actual day-to-day operation of the unit, and that's where we're seeking Council assistance to help with that. The demand on the unit is getting greater and greater every year as the community expands, and I'm sure, as you saw over the weekend, we had all of our volunteers out over the weekend up at Mount Disappointment. But this goes to, what a wonderful
job you did too.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure to be there. So, but as you can see, the demands are getting greater and greater, and the need for more equipment is happening, and that's where our funds that we do receive from government go to. So we're seeking some assistance for the day-to-day operation because that is funded by our own members, and we are seeking some Council help to do that. Thank you for taking that.
Thank you. Could I just clarify then, obviously you're indicating that it's your operational costs are inadequate. And I mean, I take it in from looking at your submission, but obviously past funding by Council, that's not been a recent phenomenon. It's not just to do with COVID-19.
No.
So why is it that the state government funding is inadequate?
To run our unit is a lot higher than what we're receiving from the government, but it's also we try and use those funds to purchase that vital rescue equipment that we need. It is equipment that we need to replace on an ongoing basis. They don't last forever, and as I mentioned, that the demand on the community has been higher and higher every year. So our call outs are increasingly dramatically increasing. So those funds that we are getting from government are going towards purchasing of that equipment. But we also have to pay for the unit to operate, and that being the utilities, the phones, registration of vehicles, and fuel.
I suppose what I was really trying to tease out is, do you feel that where there are growth councils such as our own, the formula in relation to funding local SES units disadvantages councils such as our own, or units such as your own?
It definitely disadvantages us. Yes, absolutely. I agree with what you're saying there. Yes. And definitely the COVID has had a major impact this year because we haven't been able to do that funding that our volunteers do on their own time. So, yes.
I've got no further questions. Thank you for your submission, and again, congratulations for the amazing work you do on behalf of our and other communities. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thank you. So I will make my concluding comments now, because I think we have no further submitters. So on that note, the meeting will now be closed to the public to enable the committee to consider all of the submissions and to consider its recommendations to the special council meeting, which, as I indicated earlier, will be held on Thursday, the 25th of June 2020. I'd like to thank you, all those who have spoken in support of their submission today, as well as all of those people and organisations who made a submission but chose not to speak. And I'll now ask all submitters to please leave the meeting, and thank you all again.